What if I told you that the very law Igbo people have feared for decades is now the same law being raised to defend them? What if I told you that northern elders, the same people many Igbos have pointed fingers at for years, are now the ones blowing hot, demanding that the federal government respect the rights of every Nigerian, including Nnamdi Kanu, sitting inside DSS detention? Stay with me, because what is happening right now will shake everything you thought you knew about Nigerian politics. Don't forget to also tell us where you are watching it from in the comments section below. For years, the word Sharia has carried a very heavy weight in the heart of every Igbo man and woman. It is a word that has been tied to fear, to tension, to the memory of bloody riots and fleeing traders packing their bags and running from northern states the moment full Sharia implementation was announced. Many Igbo families lost everything in those moments. Many never went back. So when somebody stands up today and says that Sharia law will now protect Igbos, including Nnamdi Kanu, your first instinct is to laugh. You think it is a joke or a provocation, but it is not a joke. This is happening in real time, and you need to understand exactly what it means and why it is happening now. The Northern Elders Forum, one of the most influential political voices in the entire North, has come out with a strong and direct statement aimed at the federal government of Nigeria. Their message was not quiet. It was not wrapped in diplomatic language. They blew hot, and they did it openly, and their anger was directed at the Tinubu administration over the handling of minority rights, due process, and the continued detention of political figures across Nigeria, with the prolonged case of Nnamdi Kanu sitting at the very center of that conversation. Now let us be very clear here so nobody misquotes this video. The Northern Elders Forum did not come out to say they support Biafra. They did not come out holding IPOB flags. What they said is far bigger than that. What they said goes to the very foundation of how this country is supposed to be governed. The forum invoked the principle that justice under Islam, which is the moral and legal foundation of Sharia, does not belong to one tribe or one religion alone. Justice under Islamic law is supposed to protect every human being regardless of who they are, Muslim or Christian, Northerner or Southerner, Hausa or Igbo. They reminded the federal government that holding any man for years without conclusion, without a fair and speedy trial, is a violation not just of Nigeria's constitution, but of every moral and religious standard that this country publicly claims to stand on. They specifically spoke to the issue of prolonged detention and the absence of due process in high-profile political cases. And every Nigerian watching knows who has been inside DSS custody the longest without clear legal resolution. Nnamdi Kanu has been held. His case has been dragged through the courts. Appeals have been filed and delayed. His legal team has fought. His supporters have marched across continents. And yet here we are, with no freedom and no final verdict in sight. The Northern Elders Forum, in raising their voices about justice and due process, put a mirror in front of the federal government, and the face staring back was not a pretty one. Here is where I need every Igbo person watching this to slow down and think carefully. For too long, the dominant narrative has been that the North is the enemy of the Igbo. Every political crisis in Nigeria has been reduced to an ethnic battle. Yoruba against Igbo, Hausa against Igbo, North against South, religion against tradition. But what happens when the North's own elders stand up and say that what is being done to a detained Igbo man violates justice? What happens when the people you expected to remain silent or even celebrate his suffering are the ones demanding his rights be respected? This is not the time to hold on to old bitterness and refuse to see what is in front of you. This is the time to open your eyes wide, because whether they intended it that way or not, the Northern Elders Forum has created a political opening that Nnamdi Kanu's legal team, Igbo leaders, and every serious supporter of his freedom should be pressing immediately. When Northern elders speak loudly, Abuja pays attention. That is the political reality of this country. When Igbo senators write petitions, they get filed away quietly. When Southern governors appeal, it is sometimes ignored entirely. But when the Northern Elders Forum raises their voice in public, the corridors of Aso Rock go silent and people start to move. But here is the part of this story that should cause every Igbo person serious concern. Political timing in Nigeria is never an accident. Nothing happens by coincidence when elections are on the horizon and when public pressure is beginning to build. Something is being calculated behind the scenes. There are people in Abuja right now who may be using this Northern Elders Forum statement to dress up the government's image, to appear like they are leaning toward reconciliation, toward releasing political detainees, toward looking humane and statesmanlike before the next election season fully begins. The question you should be asking is not simply whether Sharia principles can protect Igbo lives. The real question is who benefits from this narrative at this particular moment. Is this a genuine and sustained push for justice, or is it another layer of political theater, carefully staged to buy more time, while Nnamdi Kanu continues to sit in that facility without his freedom? Every time the Nigerian political class needs to cool down rising public anger, they produce a statement. A committee is formed, a peace meeting is called, a religious leader appears on television speaking about unity and forgiveness, and then the cameras go off and nothing changes on the ground. That pattern has repeated itself too many times in this country for any serious Igbo person to simply celebrate a statement and go to sleep. Celebration without sustained pressure is how justice gets buried in Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu has been in detention. His case has dragged on longer than many people thought possible. His supporters have given their time, their money, their energy, and some have even given their lives. And now we have reached a moment where Northern elders themselves are saying that what is being done is wrong. That alone should tell you something significant. It should tell you that the moral argument for his release is so clear that even voices from unexpected places can no longer ignore it. It should tell you that the international pressure, the legal battles, and the public campaigns have not been wasted. But pressure without follow-through is just noise. The Igbo nation must remain united, remain vocal, and remain strategically focused. Do not allow political manipulation to scatter your energy or divide your attention. Whether it is Sharia principles being invoked, whether it is Northern elders speaking, whether it is Tinubu's back-channel negotiators making promises, the demand remains exactly the same. Give Nnamdi Kanu a free and fair trial or release him unconditionally. That is not a tribal demand. That is not a religious demand. That is a human demand that every Nigerian, no matter where they come from, should be able to stand behind. If this video made you see something differently today, share it right now with 5 people who need to hear this. Drop your honest opinion in the comments section below. Do you trust this move by the Northern Elders Forum, or do you believe it is politics as usual? The conversation starts right here. The truth will not be silenced.